Imagine, unearthed, in the aftermath of war. The year is 1945. The world is still reeling from the horrors of World War II. Allied forces combing through the ravaged landscapes of occupied Japan stumble upon a discovery so gruesome, so chilling, it would send shockwaves through the very core of humanity. This wasn't just another battlefield littered with the casualties of war. This was a place where death wore a lab coat, where science was twisted into a grotesque parody of itself, where the very essence of human life was disregarded with chilling indifference. This was Unit 731, but what they would uncover was not just a facility, but a Pandora's box of unimaginable horrors, a testament to the depths of human depravity, a chilling reminder of the shadows that lurk beneath the veneer of civilization. Secret experiments conducted under the cover of night. Unit 731, even the name itself devoid of any emotion, any hint of the horrors it concealed, sends shivers down the spine. This was no ordinary military unit. This was a covert biological and chemical warfare research and experimentation facility, shrouded in secrecy, its existence known only to a select few. Operating under the veil of darkness, far from the prying eyes of the world, Unit 731 was the brainchild of one man, a man whose ambition and utter lack of regard for human life would earn him a place among history's most reviled figures, General Shiro Ishii. Driven by a perverse curiosity and fueled by the insatiable thirst for power that characterized Imperial Japan's war machine, Ishii established Unit 731 with a singular horrifying purpose: to weaponize disease, to unleash plagues upon the enemies of the Empire, to conquer not through sheer military might, but through the silent, invisible hand of pestilence. Little did the world know, hidden amidst the chaos and carnage of World War II, a nightmare was unfolding, a nightmare that would forever stain the annals of human history. A conspiracy of silence protected the guilty. The war ended, the victors claimed their spoils, the vanquished licked their wounds, but amidst the rubble the secrets of Unit 731 remained buried, concealed by a veil of silence. The United States struck a deal with the devil, immunity for the architects of this grotesque human tragedy, in exchange for their research. And so, the perpetrators of Unit 731 walked free, their crimes unpunished. They melted back into Japanese society, their pasts shrouded in secrecy. But the truth, like a festering wound, refused to be ignored. Whispers of the atrocities at Unit 731 began to surface, carried by those brave enough to speak. The truth cannot be contained. The world would soon learn the horrifying truth about Unit 731. A truth so monstrous, so depraved, it defied comprehension. Men, women, children reduced to nothing more than lab rats, their bodies subjected to unimaginable horrors in the name of science, their cries for mercy swallowed by the cold, sterile walls of the facility. Vivisection without anesthesia, limbs amputated, organs removed, bodies infected with deadly pathogens, exposed to extremes of temperature and pressure, all in an attempt to understand the limits of human endurance, to unlock the secrets of disease and death. The very air within Unit 731 was thick with suffering, heavy with the stench of decay, a testament to the sadistic curiosity and utter disregard for human life that fueled this macabre enterprise. But this was just the beginning. The horrors of Unit 731 ran far deeper, extending beyond the confines of its laboratories, into the wider world, where innocent civilians would become unwitting victims in a grand experiment of death and destruction. Meet Shiro Ishii the Devil in a lab coat. To understand Unit 731, confront the mind behind it, Shiro Ishii. Born into wealth in 1892, Ishii's path seemed destined for greatness, but his ambition led him to unimaginable darkness. A brilliant student, Ishii excelled in his studies, gaining entry to Kyoto Imperial University's medical school. There his twisted worldview was sown. Ishii fixated on biological warfare, seeing disease as a potent weapon, more terrifying than any conventional arsenal. His radical ideas found ground in 1930s Japan. The Empire saw in Ishii's research a way to tip the scales of war, to unleash silent terror upon their enemies. With military backing, Ishii embarked on a journey of horror, fueled by ambition and the Empire's thirst for power. A front for horror, the deception begins. In 1932, under the guise of a harmless-sounding epidemic prevention and water purification department, the groundwork for Unit 731 was laid in the Chinese city of Harbin. The facility, a sprawling complex of laboratories, barracks, and prisons, was built with one purpose in mind: to unleash the deadliest forces of nature upon the world. Behind the facade of scientific research, a nightmare was taking shape. Ishii, now a general in the Japanese army, ruled his domain with an iron fist, demanding absolute obedience and secrecy from his subordinates. He assembled a team of scientists, doctors, and technicians, promising them fame, fortune, and the chance to make groundbreaking discoveries. Few questioned the true nature of their work, blinded by ambition or cowed into submission by the general's ruthlessness. Those who dared to object, who dared to raise even the slightest ethical concern, were silenced, their voices extinguished before they could reach the outside world. The stage was set for one of the darkest chapters in human history, a chapter where the boundaries between science and savagery would be irrevocably blurred. The facility grows, so too does the evil. As Japan's military ambitions grew, so too did Unit 731. The facility in Harbin expanded rapidly. Prisoners of war, political dissidents, criminals, anyone deemed expendable were rounded up and shipped to this living hell. Among the victims were men, women, and children, representing a cross-section of Chinese society. Koreans, Russians, Mongolians, all became fodder for Ishii's twisted experiments. Within the walls of Unit 731, victims were stripped of their identities, assigned numbers instead of names. Their pain, their fear, their pleas for mercy, were met with indifference. The facility had transformed into a factory of horrors, a testament to the depths of human cruelty. Secrecy, maintained at all costs. Unit 731 operated under a veil of absolute secrecy. Its existence was a closely guarded secret, known only to a select few. Those who worked within its walls were sworn to silence. The Japanese government went to great lengths to conceal Unit 731's activities. Propaganda touted the facility as a center for public health research. The reality was far more sinister. The world remained oblivious to the atrocities in Harbin. The victims of Unit 731 suffered in silence. But the truth, like a virus, has a way of spreading. And the truth about Unit 731 would eventually find its way into the light. They were called logs, dehumanized, disposable. To the monsters of Unit 731, the prisoners weren't human. They weren't men, women, or children. They were logs, experimental material to be used and discarded at will. Their suffering was irrelevant, their lives meaningless in the face of the unit's twisted scientific pursuits. These logs came from all walks of life. Farmers, teachers, shopkeepers, families ripped apart by the chaos of war, their only crime being in the wrong place at the wrong time. They were rounded up, often on the flimsiest of pretexts, and shipped to Unit 731, their fates sealed the moment they stepped off the train. Stripped of their identities, their names replaced with numbers tattooed on their forearms, they were herded into cramped, filthy cells, their humanity slowly eroded by the constant threat of violence, starvation, and the chilling knowledge of the horrors that awaited them. They were the forgotten victims of a forgotten war, their suffering hidden from the world, their voices silenced by the cold, calculating machinery of Unit 731. A grotesque curiosity fueled by sadism. Driven by a perverse curiosity and a chilling disregard for human life, the scientists of Unit 731 subjected their victims to a litany of horrific experiments, each one more gruesome and inhumane than the last. Their goal was simple: to understand the limits of human endurance, to weaponize disease, and to unlock the secrets of death itself. Prisoners were infected with deadly pathogens like plague, anthrax, and cholera, their bodies racked with fever, their organs shutting down as the diseases ravaged their systems. The doctors meticulously recorded their observations, documenting the progression of the illnesses, the effectiveness of various treatments, or rather the lack thereof. They were injected with animal blood, subjected to extremes of temperature and pressure, forced to endure agonizing vivisections without anesthesia. Limbs were amputated, organs removed, all in the name of research, the screams of the victims echoing through the sterile hallways of the facility. To call it science was an insult to the very notion of scientific inquiry. This was barbarism disguised as progress, a descent into the darkest recesses of human cruelty. Section 3. Vivisection and Beyond. The operating table, a place of unspeakable horror. Vivisection, the dissection of living beings, became a grim hallmark of Unit 731. Driven by a perverse curiosity and a belief that they were above the ethical constraints of civilized society, the unit's doctors transformed the operating room into a theater of cruelty. Prisoners, often still conscious and fully aware of their surroundings, were strapped to operating tables, their bodies splayed open, their organs exposed to the cold air. The surgeons, their hands stained with blood and their faces twisted into grotesque masks of scientific detachment, worked quickly and efficiently, their scalpels slicing through flesh and bone. They removed organs, studied the effects of disease on living tissue, and experimented with different methods of amputation, all while their victims writhed in agony, their pleas for mercy ignored. To the doctors of Unit 731, these weren't human beings, they were nothing more than laboratory specimens, their suffering a mere inconvenience. The horrors of the operating table were just one facet of the depravity that unfolded within the walls of Unit 731, a testament to the depths of human cruelty and the seductive allure of unchecked power. Section 4. Children of the Shadow. Even the innocent were not spared. Perhaps the most disturbing chapter in the horrific story of Unit 731 is the fate of the children. Innocent, vulnerable, and incapable of comprehending the horrors inflicted upon them, they too became victims of the unit's insatiable thirst for knowledge, or rather, the perversion of knowledge that fueled their gruesome experiments. Pregnant women, some near term, were rounded up and sent to the facility, their unborn children viewed as just another experimental variable. The doctors monitored their pregnancies, inducing labor prematurely or performing crude cesarean sections, their only concern the data they could extract from the suffering of mother and child. Infants born within the facility were subjected to a horrific array of tests. They were infected with diseases, used in experiments involving hypothermia and decompression, their tiny bodies poked, prodded, and dissected. Their cries, the cries of innocence betrayed, echoed through the sterile halls of Unit 731, a chilling testament to the depths of human depravity. The children of Unit 731, robbed of their childhoods, their futures, their very humanity, stand as a stark reminder of the fragility of innocence in the face of unchecked evil. Section 1. Weaponizing Nature's Fury. Disease becomes the ammunition. Unit 731's true purpose, the dark heart of its existence, was the development of biological weapons. General Ishii and his team weren't content with simply studying disease. They wanted to wield it, to unleash plagues upon their enemies, to conquer not through brute force but through the silent, invisible hand of pestilence. Within the sterile confines of their laboratories, they cultivated some of the deadliest pathogens known to humankind. Anthrax, cholera, plague, typhoid fever, all nurtured and weaponized, their killing potential amplified, their transmission methods refined, transformed from naturally occurring threats into instruments of mass destruction. They experimented with different delivery systems, from infected fleas dispersed by aircraft, to bombs designed to spread clouds of contaminated dust. They calculated mortality rates, incubation periods, the optimal conditions for unleashing these biological horrors upon unsuspecting populations. In their twisted minds, disease was the ultimate weapon, capable of sowing fear and chaos, of crippling armies and decimating civilian populations. And they, the scientists of Unit 731, saw themselves as masters of this terrifying power, the architects of a new kind of warfare, one where the battlefields were the very bodies of their victims. Section 2. Production and Proliferation. What began as research in a clandestine laboratory soon escalated into industrial-scale production. The unit's pursuit of biological dominance came at a terrible cost, not only to its victims, but also to the very people tasked with carrying out its deadly agenda. Section 3. Testing Grounds of Terror. The development of biological weapons necessitated testing, and for Unit 731, the test subjects were readily available. The prisoners within their grasp, and, even more horrifically, the civilian populations of China. Thousands perished in these attacks, their deaths agonizing, their suffering a testament to the depths of Unit 731's depravity. Section 4, A Legacy of Fear. The war ended, Japan surrendered, but the legacy of Unit 731's biological weapons program cast a long shadow over the world. The threat of biological warfare, once a terrifying specter conjured in the depths of Unit 731, became a grim reality of the post-war world. They survived, but at what cost? Pingfang. The very name evokes a sense of dread, a chilling reminder of the horrors that unfolded within the walls of Unit 731. They emerged from the nightmare emaciated, scarred, their bodies ravaged by disease and torture, their minds shattered by the horrors they had witnessed. Their stories paint a harrowing picture of life inside Unit 731, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable cruelty. Every wrinkle, a testimony to horror. Wang Xiuhua was just a teenager when she was abducted from her village and sent to Pingfang. Decades later, the memories still haunt her. The nightmares haven't faded, the scars, both physical and emotional, a constant reminder of the darkness she endured. Hers is a story of survival, of courage in the face of unimaginable evil, a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit. The sins of the father. For Harumi Nishiyama, the daughter of a Unit 731 doctor, the truth about her father's past came as a shattering revelation. Her courage in seeking the truth, in giving voice to the voiceless, in demanding accountability, offers a glimmer of hope in the face of such profound evil. Time marches on, but their stories must not be forgotten. The survivors of Unit 731 are a dwindling number, their voices fading with time. Their testimonies serve as a vital reminder of the horrors that unfolded in Pingfang, a testament to the depths of human cruelty and the resilience of the human spirit. We owe it to the victims, to the survivors, and to ourselves to confront the darkness of the past, to learn from it, and to strive for a future where such atrocities are relegated to the history books. The Hippocratic Oath twisted and corrupted. Doctors sworn to heal, to alleviate suffering, to preserve life, instead became instruments of pain, their skills used to inflict unimaginable torment upon their fellow human beings. The betrayal of trust embodied by Unit 731 extends beyond the medical profession. It stains the very fabric of humanity. A twisted ideology rooted in racial superiority. The horrors of Unit 731 cannot be separated from the broader context of Imperial Japan's ideology, an ideology rooted in racial purity and a belief in Japanese superiority. The legacy of Unit 731 serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of such ideologies, of the ease with which they can take root and flourish, and the horrific consequences when they are allowed to guide policy and action. Justice delayed, truth concealed. Decades after the end of World War II, the full extent of Unit 731's crimes remains shrouded in secrecy. The search for truth and accountability continues, driven by historians, journalists, and the families of those who suffered at the hands of Unit 731. Never forget, never again. The story of Unit 731 is not one we tell lightly. It is a descent into the abyss of human cruelty, a stark reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the veneer of civilization. To forget Unit 731, to bury its secrets beneath the weight of history, would be to betray the memory of those who suffered and perished within its walls. The line between good and evil is thin. Unit 731 stands as a stark reminder of the fragility of humanity, of the ease with which we can succumb to our darkest impulses. We must cultivate empathy, compassion, and a profound respect for the sanctity of human life. For it is in these qualities that we find our humanity, and it is in our humanity that we find the strength to resist the allure of darkness. The past is a prologue. The horrors of Unit 731 are not merely events of the past, they are a warning, a call to vigilance, a reminder that the seeds of hatred and intolerance, if allowed to take root, can blossom into unimaginable evil. We see echoes of Unit 731 in the genocide in Rwanda, in the ethnic cleansing in the Balkans, in the ongoing conflicts in Syria and Yemen. The names and faces of the victims may change, but the underlying forces of hatred, intolerance, and the lust for power remain the same. It is our duty to remember, to learn, and to act. We must confront injustice wherever we find it. We must challenge discrimination and prejudice in all its forms. We must hold our leaders accountable for their actions and demand that they uphold the principles of human rights and dignity. The legacy of Unit 731 is a heavy burden to bear, but it is a burden we must share. For in remembering the past, in confronting its darkness, we find the strength to build a better future, a future where such horrors are never repeated, a future worthy of the sacrifices of those who suffered and perished in Pingfang.